We're joined by Hajo Seppelt from German broadcaster ARD. In a documentary, he exposed the systematic doping in Russian athletics. You sharply criticized the doping by the Russian state many times. What do you think of the IOC's decision?
Es ist ein Offenbarungseid im Anti-Doping-Kampf. Es ist eine Niederlage für
It's a declaration of bankruptcy in the fight against doping. It's a setback for clean sport. The winners are those who cheat. That's the message of yesterday's decision by the IOC, because in the end they kowtowed to the Russian bear. Maybe it's too much to say that the decision made the worst state-sponsored doping since the GDRs 30 years ago socially acceptable, but they didn't put an end to it properly. The IOC puts the responsibility for the Russian Olympic participants in Rio in the hands of the international federations for individual sports. They now have 12 days to investigate whether those from Russia are to be allowed to take part. They have to establish whether the athletes on the list of potential Olympic participants were part of the state-sponsored doping system or not. This is absolutely impossible in 12 days.
Ob die denn Teil des Staatsdopingsystems waren oder nicht, das ist völlig unmöglich innerhalb von 12 Tagen durchzuführen.
Sie haben es gesagt. As you said, the international sports federations have little time, but wouldn't it be wrong to put an embargo on all athletes if state-sponsored doping can't be proved in every single case? You've said more than once there might be Russian athletes who are clean. What about the presumption of innocence?
Es werden ja hier nicht Sportler gesperrt.
It's not the athletes who'd be banned, but an individual federation, or in this case, the Russian Olympic Committee, under whose responsibility the athletes train and take part in competitions. If a federation can't guarantee that its athletes who are under its responsibility are clean, because the system under which they train and where they're tested for doping is contaminated and corrupt, in this case there can't be a level playing field.
Man kann es kein level playing field, wie man im Englischen sagt, geben.
Instead, you have to suppose there are potential or actual cheats. That's why we have the World Anti-Doping Code. According to this code, all member associations have to follow the rules. The Russians have broken the rules fundamentally, in a way we haven't seen ever before. And so the question is whether, unfortunately, even clean athletes have to be banned as well. And certainly you can find such athletes in this system too.
Unterwegs sind, ob man die dann bedauerlicherweise von dieser Kollektivstrafe mit einbeziehen muss.
What consequences will the decision have for the future of the Olympic Games?
Es ist hier das Worst-Case-Szenario eingetreten, als man...
It was the worst-case scenario when it was found out that in 2016 and the preceding years, at least over several periods, there was massive intervention by the Russian state, a politically controlled program of deception.
Ganz oben Athleten wurden im Geheimen...
Athletes were trained under secret doping schemes. Their doping tests were suppressed or just disappeared. They were destroyed in the event that there was something noticeable or that they were positive.
Vom russischen Sportministerium...
All that was done by the Russian Sports Ministry, supported by the Secret Service. If this level of manipulation and deception isn't enough to say we have to ban the Russian National Olympic Committee, then I don't know what else has to happen until there will be meaningful measures in the fight against doping. Consistency by the IOC is missing. The IOC, in actual fact, has sent a message to the world saying, look, you can cheat as much as you like, you'll still be welcome at the Olympic Games.
Herzlich willkommen bei den Olympischen Spielen.
Herr Seppelt, vielen Dank für das Interview.
Bitte gerne.